Hello Virgos, and welcome to the Very Virgoan channel. I am Veronica Virgo, and I am here with your October 2022 reading. I can't tell you how excited I am to be running this channel at Halloween times, because Halloween is my absolute favorite holiday, and I'm going to do as much as I can this month to recognize my hallowed holiday. Everything's covered in cat hair and wax tonight, despite my best efforts, so you just have to bear with me. Tonight we're going to be using a brand new deck. I actually bought it last year, but I haven't used it for anyone. It's the Halloween Tarot, and these are fun, funny, whimsical designs. I absolutely love this deck. It's so gorgeous and delightful with these kitty cat backs of the cards, so I can't wait to get started on this deck with you. If you are a regular watcher or a subscriber, you probably remember me using the spell casting cards before, since it is the month of all things witchy. I mean, let's be realistic, what day isn't witchy, right? But we will be doing those cards with a spell for you and wrapping up with our tarot dice. So let's jump right into your 5-card reading. Again, if you are a regular watcher, you may remember from previous months, this 5-card reading is your career, your finances, your health, love, and then some advice. So let's do one more round of stiff card shuffling, and then we will get started. Virgo, for the month of October. All right, let's start with career. 2 of Pumpkins. Now, the 2 of Pumpkins in this case is the same as 2 of Pentacles. Excuse me, got a little choked up on my incense there. Yeah, don't set incense directly in front of your line of breath if you're going to do tarot readings. Just a pro tip. All right, so it does correspond with the Pentacles, and in this case, you can even see it in the design of the card. It's about balancing your priorities or making decisions. Sometimes it can even have to do with adapting to change. You can see that he or she or they is trying to balance these pumpkins, but they're creating the like eternity sign there, the sideways 8, and balancing themselves all at the same time while this delighted or curious little kitty watches. So in your career, you've probably been balancing a lot of responsibilities, Virgo. Maybe you've taken on new projects and you're trying to figure out how to make all of these things work in tandem and still please your superiors. Perhaps you're balancing your work life with your home life or romantic life. But it seems to me that you're doing a pretty good job. I mean, that face looks pretty pleased to me. Everyone around you is a bit curious as to how you're doing it, but you are maintaining a wonderful balance in October. One thing I would say is just to make sure you carve out time for yourself, for what they call self-care. And, you know, any moment that you can steal away for yourself just for a hand massage, you know, a self-shoulder massage, or if you have the money to do it, you know, pay for a massage or a half day at the spa or something like that on a Saturday, just to make sure you're not getting totally burnt out and find yourself unable to balance your responsibilities. All right, and as always, these cards do speak to each other. They work in tandem, so as we complete this cycle of cards, I will be finding ways that they relate to each other. Okay, 7 of Bats. I just love these illustrations. So the bats corresponds with swords in this case. A 7 of Swords can represent a certain level of trickery, sometimes sort of strategic, nefarious tactics, or even a little bit of deception. You know, I tend to think this may be you, but it's not me judging you, Virgo. It just might be that you are balancing your finances in a way that's very strategic, and maybe, as they used to say, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul in order to make everything fit. I understand that. I have done it many times in my life because I operate at least right now, at a place of relative poverty compared to other people. But the one thing I want you to be mindful of, especially since you've already kind of got the stressor in career, is that you don't like offset all these different expenses by like, okay, I won't pay this month to pay that month. I'll do the payday loan, but not pay on it for a while. But you will find yourself so deep in a hole, and you will be getting messages from creditors, calls all day, and that sort of thing. I mean, you may have like hidden away all these guys, but there's always going to be more coming after you. And you may be with that smile on your face, but do you notice that smile looks a little tense? So I would say, Virgo, be mindful. We understand. I understand. I'm speaking in the royal we here, that sometimes you have to be a little creative to live your life, but also be mindful, take some notes, always at least be mentally aware of what you're working with, because you're going to find yourself unable to outrun the swarm. All right, moving on to health, the High Priestess. She looks a little bit like a vampira or something like that, but sort of happy, which typically associated with this card, she's a bit more somber, and I like that she's almost celebratory in this. The High Priestess is wisdom, an unconscious sort of knowing or inner voice that is expressed by you, a certain knowledge, if you will, of what's going on in the world and with yourself. So given that that is what the card typically represents, I'm trying to see if she's holding the bat. She is holding the bat. So she's celebrating perhaps some of the darker parts. I mean, these cards are dark to start with, right? But like funnily dark in the way that, you know, Tim Burton's movies are, something like that. She's holding the bat in one hand and the book in the other. So it may be that you've been doing a lot of research online lately, Virgo. For myself, I have extreme tinnitus. I was diagnosed with it many years ago, but it's really ramped up. So I've been doing a lot of research lately, trying to figure out what the heck is wrong with me. Now, as much as I love bats, I celebrate bats, I hate it when people don't support bats, because essentially without bats, we would no longer have half the crops that we have because the pests would take over it. They were associated with COVID. You know, in the wet markets in China, I think they finally figured out that that's probably where ground zero was. So it may be that even though we are quote unquote finished with the pandemic, which, you know, I'm not quite sure of that, I hope we are, maybe you have a fear that like people are relaxing too much and that you know it's going to come back. And you're trying to keep, you know, a happy face, but you're a little bit worried about it. Don't go too deep down the rabbit hole, Virgo. We are generally safe at this point. If you are immunocompromised or you do feel a lot of anxiousness when you go into public, just pop on your mask. No one is judging anyone anymore for where, well, I'm sure there still are people, but generally when you're out, you may see like 5 or 6 people in masks, and no one pressures them or asks, why are you wearing a mask? So do what makes you feel comfortable, but also don't try to fret too much about your health. As long as you eat fairly healthfully, you keep a regular exercise regime, you know, take your multivitamins, I think you're doing all right. Generally, Virgos tend to be a pretty healthy stock, but we do also tend to worry and catastrophize. So try to stay away from that if you can, Virgo, and just keep an even keel in all things. I think that's really important. I think balance is the order of the day. So not to go to extremes of any kind in October. So let's move on to love, the sun. My goodness, well, that couldn't be any better for us now, could it? The kitties bowing down to all the happy little skulls. The monster is like sleeping with his little token in his mouth. The little potato, whatever they are, shrunken heads, I guess, are smiling. The bats are yawning a satisfied yawn. So this looks really good for our love situation. I mean, The Sun card is a card of positivity and joy, happiness. Happiness? Suddenly I had a lisp. Happiness. I mean, it couldn't look any better. You may be meeting someone very unconventional this month, you know, a kindred soul, because we Virgos also tend to be a little unusual, despite people thinking that we're very straight-laced. We sort of privately inhabit eccentricities. So maybe you're going to find yourself walking in the sun with that one other odd soul that really appreciates who you are and where you're coming from. What a wonderful outcome with that. And I'll take it because I am ready to meet somebody. I'm ready to meet somebody cool. And advice, 3 of ghosts. The ghosts correspond, excuse me, with cups, and they are holding up cups, so that should probably tip you off there. So the 3 of cups, ghosts rather, represents friendship, community, a sense of happiness and bondedness. If you have 2 close friends, I would recommend the 3 of you hanging out this month, perhaps to imbibe somewhat, again, because our previous cards are sort of representing don't go to extremes. I would be a little careful of being in your cups too much and maybe creating strife within your small community there. But when you're out, other people are watching you and are even kind of envious of the bond that the 3 of you have. Maybe you have friends from work, friends from school, from long ago, you know, friends from preschool, for goodness sakes. Or maybe you're going to meet 2 new people who really make you feel a part of things and very welcome in this world. Just an absolutely great reading for October, Virgos. I was trying to shuffle the spellcasting book. So let's take a look at your spellcasting card just to add to that advice and see what spell we have for you this month. Ooh, psychic abilities. You know, that's something that I've been really interested in developing myself. I think I do have some intuition here with the tarot, but I've been real interested in learning more about like remote viewing and things like that. And I'm sure that you yourself have other ideas about what kind of psychic abilities, you know, telekinesis or you know, paranormal absorption, talking with the dead, that sort of thing. But let's see what the book has to say. You're experiencing a great shift in your personal energy, and what you once found attractive no longer appeals to you as your sensitivity increases. Everything that you're feeling is entirely natural, for it's your wish and desire to evolve spiritually that has brought about these changes in you. As you connect with your angels and guides, practice meditation, say daily prayers, and live your truth, your vibrational frequency raises to match that of which you now seek. The psychic phenomena you've experienced is real. It's time to trust in the subtle messages of the Spirit as new spiritual doorways open to awaken your psychic abilities. It says, trust your psychic gifts. Join a circle to open up your spiritual communication. Maybe this is where you're going to meet 2 other people. You know, join your local witch group or your local Jungian group or your local, like, spiritual shop might have, you know, tarot card classes or something like that. And maybe you'll find your tribe there. A clairvoyant confirms the answers you seek. Your intuition is correct, and this is your path. Great. So if you want to tap into this, I'm going to read this spell to you, and you're welcome to come back and listen to it again or write it down for your future use. Here we go. Here's your incantation. Stand with upstretched arms to the full moon at midnight on a Monday and say, I call down the moon on this fine night. With loving heart and open sight, mystical moonlight stream through third eye, visions to have, mirrors to scry. Open my ears that I may hear whispers of spirit so loving and clear. My heart doth expand so that I may heal. Empathy flows, message to feel. Inviting my crown to open wide, claircognizance stirs deep inside. Spiritual connection upon midnight hour. I now fully claim my psychic power. It's really beautiful. And while I was reading that, I had a real strong sense that someone who's listening to this wants to learn the laying on of hands. Whether you want to do that in like a Christian context or a more paranormal context, without the, you know, the Christian overlays. So I would suggest that you do that. The full moon is on the 9th of October. It's a blood moon, so it'll be a really great time to employ that. And again, you know, find your tribe. Some of us are more solitary practitioners, but if you're the kind of person who wants to make friends, this is a good time for you to do it. Okay, Virgo, we have Gemini, we have Neptune, and we have a 5. So Gemini and Virgo share the same ruling planet, which is Mercury. And Mercury is all about communication. So if one of these people is a Gemini and you really get on as far as sharing ideas, particularly if they're about psychic gifts, tarot, intuition, healing, dreams, anything like that, I think you've found someone to possibly even merge with romantically. Neptune has to do with our creative nature in almost an otherworldly way. So what better way to get creative in an otherworldly way than exploring your psychic gifts? As far as 5 is concerned, whoops, I changed it over, but as far as 5 is concerned, I'm thinking that either this relationship will really start to come to fruition in 5 months, or by 5 months, you're going to feel comfortable enough with your newly honed psychic gifts that they can start to inform these other parts of your life where maybe you're a little bit shaky. I mean, you're keeping it together, Virgo, but at the same time, it's causing a fair amount of stress. And I think within 5 months' time, things are going to start to balance out for you. By the beginning of March, things should look really good for you. What a great reading. I'm sort of excited for it myself. Happy October and Halloween. I'll be back this month for a full moon and a new moon reading, and I'm probably going to do a Halloween reading specifically. I think I may even go live for that one. Maybe I can invite my subscribers for a costume party. I think that would be really flippin' cool. All right, Virgo, so thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for that full moon reading on the 9th, and I will see you on the flip side.